In 1990, he was deployed to Saudi Arabia and Kuwait for combat operations in Operation Desert Storm, where he served as a tow gunner with the 8th Tank Battalion Anti-Tank Tow Company. In 1994, he was hired as a firefighter for the city of Hollywood because of his experience as a Marine and knowledge of military honor guard protocol. He was later selected as an honor guard member to represent the city of Hollywood at the memorial ceremony to honor the fallen firefighters of the New York City Fire Department in 9/11. Abiud has been working for the city of Hollywood for 25 years and currently holds the rank of fire lieutenant. In 2003, Montes was activated for combat in Operation Iraqi Freedom. He served as a vehicle commander for the 1st Marine Division, Regimental Combat Team, 2nd Tank Battalion, Scout Platoon. He was part of the main combat element to Baghdad. Montes has served in numerous positions over the years, including Operation Chief for the Force Readiness Assistance and Assessment Program, Operations Chief and Company Gunny for American Lion in Agadir, Morocco, and Military Advisor and Anti-Terrorism Officer to Naval Mobile Instruction Battalions 22 and 14. Master Gunnery Sergeant is now retired from the Marine Corps after 30 years of faithful service. Montes is a Life Scout from Boy Scout Troop 303 out of Fireball District and was also in the Order of the Arrow. Montes has been speaking for over 28 years and has been the Master of Ceremonies for many events throughout the U.S., as well as the guest of honor for several Marine Corps birthday balls. He's also a keynote speaker with topics on leadership, anti-terrorism, and how to handle a bully. Montes is also very active in his community and church. He is currently the president for the Navy League Fort Lauderdale Council and past president for the Freedoms Foundation of Valley Forge, Broward County chapter. Please help me welcome two-time combat veteran, Master Gunnery Sergeant Abiud Montes.
Celebrate, honor, and remember. That's what we're here doing today. We're celebrating Memorial Day because it's something that we should always celebrate and look back at history of the men and women that served this country and are no longer with us. We honor every member from the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Coast Guard. Those men and women that came before us and served this country. They basically wrote out a blank check. They didn't know where they were going into, but they made the ultimate sacrifice when they made the decision to serve this country. We remember them. Today, there's many people in the crowd that have family members that have served, and you remember them today. That's a good thing, yeah. Woo! I want to ask, if you have a family member that served in the military and they're no longer with us today, please stand in remembrance of them, but we can honor them right now. Remember those family members that we love so much. We remember those young men, those young women that went off to war to serve for this country and to make a difference. In 1991, I was 19 years old, And I remember it was the day before Thanksgiving. I got a phone call from my gunnery sergeant. I was a young Lance Corporal, only been in the Marine Corps less than a year. And he said, Saddam Hussein has just attacked Kuwait City. And the Marines, I was in the reserves. I just got out of boot camp and MCT, Marine Combat Training, and SOI, School of Infantry. I went away for the summer for annual training. But they called us up and said, we're getting activated. Many people says, oh, you're just in the reserves. Don't worry about it. You're not going to go to combat. You'll probably go to Camp Lejeune and just stay there while the active duty goes over. Well, it was a regimental formation. And the Commandant, General Gray, as we were in the regimental formation, says, look at your uniform. It doesn't say active Marine. It doesn't say Reserve Marine. It says United States Marines. He said, we will all go and fight. I found myself on an airplane on December 24th of that year, flying mid-Atlantic across from Cherry Point, North Carolina to Abiud, Italy. From Abiud, Italy over to Saudi Arabia. 24 hours on an airplane. The U.S. troops and the coalition was joined together. We did 30 days of bombing, and at 03 in the morning, I was up and ready in a full mop gear because there's weapons of mass destruction. I know they say there's none, but we have videos of people that were dead on the side of the road. So I had a gas mask, rubber gloves, a full charcoal suit, rubber boots at 03 in the morning, and we crossed the line of departure. The war was just 100 hours long. Of course, when we went into it, we didn't know it was going to be 100 hours. But I want to share a story. As we rolled into Kuwait City, there was a young Muslim boy, about 14 years old. And that young 14-year-old boy, Mayor, looked at me in the eyes and said something to this day that I will never forget. He said, America is number one. The young Muslim boy spoke English, and I asked him, why do you feel that America is number one? Well, he told me, he says, it's number one because, he said, let me go back. He said, first, when the enemy came in like a flood, he said, they came and they took my father away. I have not seen him in 9 months. I believe he may be dead. He said, they took my sister and they did horrible things to her. They took my mother and they did really, really bad things to her as well. He said, but when the Americans showed up, when the Marines showed up, he said, the bad guys left. And that's why he said America's number one. And this young Muslim boy taught me something. He taught me a word called freedom. And the thing about the word freedom, freedom is an oxymoron word because we know freedom is not free. Freedom was paid for by sweat, blood, and tears from men and women from the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraqi freedom, Afghanistan. Men and women paid the ultimate price for what we call today freedom. We are benefiting today from what those men and women did. I want to share a story with you this morning to remember a young man. He was just 17 years old. He's from my country, Puerto Rico, where my family was born. This young man, Miguel Armando Vera Rodriguez. At 17 years old, he joined the United States Army. He went to go serve over in Korea. At the age of 19, he was in a heavy battle. While in the midst of the battle on Pork Chop Hill in Korea, he was injured. They went ahead and picked him up and put him on the gurney, and they went down the hill, and they were taking him down to the battalion aid station where he could get medical treatment. As he was going down the hill, he overheard that they were going to be overrun by the enemy. He got up off the gurney and charged right back up that hill. At 19 years old, that showed courage, dedication. When he got to the top of Pork Chop Hill, all the men were up there, and they soon knew that they were going to be overrun. So they're about to retreat, and Miguel, at 19 years old, looked back at the rest of the army members that he served with and says, "Don't worry, I have it. Go ahead, I'll stay here." And they said as they ran down the hill, I spoke to 2 Army guys in Washington, D.C. in 2013 when I went to Washington, D.C. to go with a friend of mine to receive the Medal of Honor from the president at the time, for Miguel Armando Vera. They said when they woke up the next day and they went back up the hill, they found the enemy all around him. They found his helmet, his bayonet, and his body laid there. The ultimate sacrifice. The Bible talks about this. In John 15:13, it says, "Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for a friend." Remember that. Everyone in this place has a family member that has served and given the ultimate sacrifice. That's why today, on Memorial Day, in the town of Davie, we celebrate, we honor, and we remember those men and women that gave the ultimate sacrifice.